lukhona udaba olukhona.
Liyana.
Liyana. Wenzenjani?
Nomgcoba. Ngizokudinga ukuthi ungenzele into ebalekile.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to ASR, African Stories Realized. This is our weekly review of Shaka iLembe Season 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Episode 10 picks up as Shaka got cleansed in the aftermath of the Zulu victory over the Ndwandwe at Gqokli Hill. The acting regent of the Mthethwa, Mondisa, quickly sent his congratulations to the Zulu and apologies for not supporting them against the Ndwandwe. Shaka accepted the apology, but soon started plotting to get rid of Mondisa, with the spy in Mthethwa later confirming that he couldn't be trusted. Shaka ordered his brothers, Dingane and Mhlangane, to accompany Ngomani to Mthethwa and assassinate Mondisa. Shaka instructed them to gain Mondisa's trust by telling him that they were unhappy with his rule, and upon arriving in Oyengweni, Ngomani did not hold back, confronting the Mthethwa region for not supporting them against the Ndwandwe. Dingane calmed Ngomani down and suggested that he excuse himself from the meeting. Back in Guanobamba, Shaka and his mother made up, with the young king apologizing to Nandi and promising to never turn his back on her counsel again. Nandi briefed Shaka on her recent trip to Qwabe, revealing that Phakathwaya demanded that Shaka and the Zulu submit to Mthandeni, which they agreed wouldn't happen. Nandi still insisted that they need the support of the Qwabe, but conceded that Phakathwaya would be a difficult ally, with Shaka hinting that he had a plan. Nomo then came to see Shaka, begging for his support. Shaka insisted that he will support Nomo and make sure that he sits on the Qwabe throne, but he advised him to be patient. Nandi then caught up with her daughter, who revealed her crush for Mzilikazi, asking her mother to arrange for them to be married. She also shared with Nandi that she saw Liyana suffering from nausea, suggesting that it could mean that she's pregnant. Nandi sent her daughter to investigate, and Liyana confided in her, revealing that she was pregnant with the king's heir. Liyana then paid Shaka a visit, sharing the news of her pregnancy. The Zulu king was in shock, questioning how she could have allowed it to happen, revealing that he did not want children who would grow up only to be used in plots to overthrow him. However, Liyana revealed she had a potion that would end the pregnancy, and for the first time, Shaka professed his love for Liyana, but once again reiterated that he couldn't be with her because she would make him weak. Liyana then drank the potion in front of Shaka, revealing that she would leave the Zulu capital once she was done grieving. However, Mbopa later reported to Shaka that Liyana was not well, with Shaka instructing that his sister take her to the royal healer. Meanwhile, in Mthandeni, Nandi arrived for more negotiations with Phakathwaya as she tried to get support in the Zulus' efforts to finish off the Ndwandwe. Phakathwaya was once again not interested until Nandi offered a share of the Ndwandwe's trade routes once they were defeated. Nandi then invited Phakathwaya to Guanobamba for a celebration, which would give the two kings an opportunity to iron out their agreement. However, things took a turn when Nandi discovered that Nomo was also in Mthandeni against Shaka's orders. She demanded that he return to Guanobamba before Phakathwaya found out he was in Qwabe, but the young prince once again defied instructions. Nomo and his men stormed the Qwabe king's royal hut, killing Phakathwaya's guards. However, the Qwabe king was not in the hut, getting the drop on Nomo and capturing him for his failed assassination attempt. Shaka soon received word that Nandi and Nomo were being held captive in Mthandeni. Shaka rushed over to the Qwabe capital, where Nomo begged for his help, but Shaka was only interested in rescuing his mother, denying any involvement in Nomo's actions and reminded the Qwabe prince that he defied his orders. Nomo was then sentenced to death for his treason, and in his last moments, he begged for Shaka's help before being dropped from the summit of a waterfall. After Nomo's execution, Shaka's two most trusted warriors confronted him for not helping Nomo, who was like a brother to them. But Shaka made it clear that the same fate awaited them if they defied his orders and put his mother's life in danger. Meanwhile, in Gudunkomo, Zwide and his army returned home following their defeat in Gqokli Hill. Zwide and his wife were inconsolable as they mourned the loss of their sons. Liyana offered his condolences, but Zwide's wife revealed she'd never forgive him for betraying his brother. She then kicked Soshangane out of the mourning hut, reminding him once again that he didn't belong because he wasn't related to them by blood. Zwide later confided in his surrogate son, revealing that he didn't like the way the queen treated Soshangane, who has always been loyal to him and helped him see things he couldn't. Zwide then went to apprehend his brother, Goloza. The Ndwandwe king confronted him about his vision, and Goloza admitted that he did have a premonition of Zwide's sons perishing in battle, but admitted that he wanted Zwide to feel the same pain he did when Nomaslanjana killed Nyengelezi. The episode ends with Zwide putting his blade to Goloza's neck, ready to kill his brother. I love today's episode. We saw a different side of Zwide as he mourned the loss of his sons, and the Ndwandwe licked their wounds following their first loss in a long time. I love episodes with action and battles, but I must admit that I'm enjoying the episodes which cover the aftermath of the battles more. Shaka and Liyana's romance is really turning into an epic love story, and I love the treatment that the show gave to it. This has easily been the most captivating part of Shaka's character development this season. The dialogues today were so good, and I did feel like last week was a little light in that department. We predicted that Liyana might end up pregnant, and we've previously talked about Shaka's reasons for not wanting children, and I think the show did extremely well with the Zulu King's motivation there. I think the show will do one of two things. Either they'll ultimately get rid of Liyana and her baby, much like how historical accounts suggest that Shaka used to deal with mistresses after he knocked them up. Alternatively, the show could entertain the theory that maybe one of Shaka's children did survive this purge. I actually think there was a lot of misdirection today that suggests they are leaning in that direction. Nandi knows that Shaka would never let Liyana give birth to his heir, so I suspect that she may have cooked up a plan which will convince Shaka that Liyana got rid of the baby before leaving the capital so she can give birth and raise the Zulu heir in secret. Ultimately, they'll probably still get rid of them later, but I think it's worth exploring. Most historical sources claim that Shaka had no officially recognized heir, but within Zulu oral history, there are rumors that Shaka did father a child named Zibizendleni. It is said that during Dingane and Mpande's respective reigns, whispers circulated that a son of Shaka would one day appear and claim the Zulu throne. This son was said to be Zibizendleni, who was either hidden away or prophesied to return. So basically, there is some loose source material for this direction, if that's where the show wants to take it. Another interesting thing we learned today is that Mdlaka and Liyana are from the same homestead, which probably means that they're related. There was a lot of development for a lot of the supporting cast today, and I really wish we had seen some of this development earlier so we could get to know the characters better before they got involved in the bigger story, especially Soshangane and Ntombazana, who had a very deep interaction, and we didn't really get much of this context about her relationship with Soshangane before. Looks like she moved on pretty quickly after crying over Dinswaya. Mbapa is also slowly growing in the shadows. You can see he's up to something, but I can't figure out what. And for those who are familiar with the part he plays, I don't want to get into all of that before the show has. So I think it's always better to let the show lead, and then I'll just review the episodes, give any historical context of what happened in the episodes, and move on from there. The only thing which threw me off this week was Nongila, who was already dispatched to Mteto before we had seen him and Mpande at least brief Shaka about their experience with the Boers and the British. I feel like there was a scene missing somewhere there. But like I said, when they introduced the colonial storyline, I think it's something they're gonna focus on more in season 3. I wouldn't be mad if the show leaned more into the spy thriller element. They've been some of my favorite scenes this season and bring so much suspense to the story. Shaka was also known for his vast spy network, so it feels organic. I mean, for hundreds of years before technology started playing a bigger part, spies were the most important assets in various wars. Shaka's brothers are definitely up to something, and he suspects it. That's why he continues to test their loyalty, with Dingane establishing himself as a strong character early on. He definitely feels like a potential threat. Now let's talk about the power struggle over the Qwabe throne. At first, I thought the show might be playing us like they did with Dingisayo in season 1, but I think his demise is final. Historical accounts suggest that Nomo was initially nominated as the Qwabe heir following his father's passing, but was ultimately rejected due to concerns about his mother being from Mtetwa, which led to a dispute over the throne that ended with Nomo being executed after Pakatwayo became king. I was wondering where Nomo was during the last few episodes, so this was a disappointing way for him to go out. I don't think there was anything Shaka could have done to help him. He was too impatient, but I also feel that goes against the character's traits. Even his uncle, Dingiswayo, refused to support him, so I don't know why he tried to force things after Shaka assured him that he would help him. Even Nandi told him to go back to Kwanobamba, but he didn't listen. I was just so irritated with how he behaved in this episode. Much like Nyembezi, I wish the character had been given more to do before his demise. And while I previously highlighted how huge the cast for this season was, the numbers are getting less as the bodies continue to drop. Like I explained in season 1, the Qwabe and the Zulu go way back. Historical accounts suggest the Zulu and Qwabe were closely related. The show did allude to the story of Qwabe and Zulu, the two brothers who were both descendants of the Zulu chief Malandela. When Malandela died, there was a dispute over who should succeed him as chief. Qwabe was the older brother, but Zulu was the more popular and charismatic leader. In the end, Zulu was chosen as the new chief, and Qwabe broke away with his followers to start a new clan. So Nandi's family in Qwabe definitely have a distant relation to the Zulu. Before I go, I just want to apologize for an error I made last week when I suggested that the battle which took place was the Battle of the Mhlathuze River. Rather, it was the Battle of Gqokli Hill, and thanks to some of the viewers for pointing that out. This puts the events of the show currently around the year 1818, so we are still 2 years away from the Battle of Mhlathuze River, where we suspect the season to end, which means some significant time will pass in the final 2 episodes. Thank you all for the support. You guys are really showing up in the comments this season, and I appreciate everyone's feedback. There's 2 episodes left in the season, and we'll be back next week with another review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is ASR. For the love of African filmmaking and storytelling.